One day I was sitting on the bike and I got to looking at the gauges, the tachometer and the speedometer, and I'm like, oh no. Because they actually look pretty good, and it's got the original mileage, 16,000, blah, blah, on it. And they actually look pretty good. Like, it's like, oh, something's not messed up on this bike. That's cool. And so I'm sitting there looking at them, and it just catches my eye that the face, where all the numbers and everything, is flaking off on both of them. Not so bad on the Speedo. I believe it's the TAC that's the worst. But it's actually literally like if you hit a hard bump, like a lot of the background that has all the numbers and stuff on it could just fall off. And I'm just like, oh God. Hi, and welcome back. Well, the parts are piling up, folks. Been ordering parts quite regularly for quite a while, and I wanted to give you an update on this project and kind of let you know where we're at on getting it started. So, as you know, I live in Washington State. Maybe you know it, maybe you don't, but I live on the west side. And that's the maritime wet side of the state versus the east side of the state, which is much more arid. But the weather here has been terrible for the most part. I mean, we haven't had much of a sunny spring at all. The weather has just been horrid. And in the midst of it, I've had this other pressing project that I had to get done, and I've been working on it every day that the sun shines, or at least every day that it's not pouring rain, even in a few times when it was pouring rain. So I'm getting along with that. I'll show you a little bit of it while I'm talking here. And that project is well in hand at this point. And we're going to hopefully conclude it over the sometime in the next, perhaps this week, I hope. If not this week, sometime next week. I have about 3 days of work left in that project, and that's totally off the topic from this project. It's not motorcycle related at all. It's a fence, and so that's where I've been working on that. And in the meantime, the Valkyrie has just been kind of sitting here. So the Valkyrie, it's a 1998. When I got it, it has about 16,000 miles on it. It's been outside a lot. I think it was probably stored outside a lot, though the seat is fine, pristine more or less, which kind of makes me think it must have had a cover over it. But I think it did a lot of time outside because the chrome, if you look close at the chrome, it's not the chrome that you would see on a motorcycle that's been babied or kept inside. So the 16,000 miles, as far as how hard the riding was on it, not really sure. But the bike looks rough. And so I wanted to give it a good thorough evaluation, and I wanted to get it out and road test it. And I have a really good loop for that that's mostly rural roads. And I want to put the camera on my helmet and do a little talking when I'm out there. And the thing of it is that the weather's just been so foul, and I've been so busy with this other project that I just haven't had a chance to test ride it yet. But in the meantime, when I've had a few hours here and there when it's been raining, I have been able to work on the bike. There's 2 videos up. I'll put links at the end. One is to remove the tank and assess the air cleaner. I mean, I wasn't even sure there was an air cleaner element in there, so I had to take the tank off and take a look. And the other project is to change the coolant. The dealership, I bought this bike online from a dealership, and I tried to get them to send me the folder on it. They said they did a bunch of work on it. I don't think they did any work on it, and if they did, I'd be real surprised. The only thing I noticed for sure is that the bike has brand new tires on it, and all the rubber nubs are still on the face of the tire, so, which is a bonus because the tires can cost, you know, a few $100s, and then the mounting and all of that. So somebody put some new tires on it. Other than that, I don't think anything else has been done to it. The oil's pretty dark. They said they did work on the carburetors and that sort of thing, and maybe that's true. I don't know, but they won't send me the folder. I've tried and called them back, and oh yeah, we'll email it right out. It's a typical deal. You don't get it. So the bottom line is I've had to go over the bike from top to bottom, give it a full-on, I don't know, 25,000 mile checkup. Checked all the brake linings and went through pretty much everything on the bike. Fuel system hoses, found a bunch of split hoses, changed a bunch of those. I can't see all of them because a lot of them reside in the valley of the engine. The engine, as you know, is an opposing 6-cylinder, and 3 cylinders each side opposing each other, and then there's a valley, and up in the top of that valley resides the carburation. 6 carburetors, individual carburetors up there, each with their own intake manifold. And there's a ton of vacuum lines. This is also a California emissions bike, so it's got the EVAP system on it and some other stuff pertinent to the California emissions. And so I did replace some lines that were bad, and took care of a lot of things that way. But for the most part, I didn't find anything terribly wrong. The bike starts and idles nice, and you've probably seen that if you've seen any of the other videos. I have started the bike on there and run it, and the bike just purrs really. So I don't really know how much has been done to it. It's only a low miles bike, 16,000, and my Indian Chieftain right behind the camera here has 25,000 on it. Victory, my Victory, it's a low miles bike. It's only got 7,000 on it. But this bike, 16,000, shouldn't have that much wrong internally. I mean, it's Honda. Honda's run. So, but it is rough, cosmetically. So it's going to need a lot. And I want to go through it. I want to restore it. But I think I also want to do some customizing. And I bought a lot of parts to try to see what I want to do, and maybe some things to experiment with. And so I think what I'll do is I'll lay out the parts that I got so far, but who I'd really like to hear from are the Valkyrie guys. I'm going to try to break into the Valkyrie Writers Club blog, website, forum site. So I went ahead and joined that. And I've done a couple of small posts on it, asked a few questions, but I'd kind of like to get a video, or at least some links up, and see if I can get some of those guys to come to the channel and watch some of these videos as I go through this bike. And because that community probably has a lot of answers to a lot of questions that I have. Because I don't know anything about this bike. I have never had a Valkyrie before. I've had Honda motorcycles before, just, you know, dirt bikes. But I've never had a Honda street bike, and I've never certainly had something like this. So I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions on customizing and restoration, and how to do some of the body work and fender kind of stuff that I see on some of the custom motorcycles. I have a lot of questions. And so if anybody that has input, you know, YouTube videos help all of us when we have something that we haven't done and somebody does know how to do it and they put a video up. It's also really helpful in the comments. If you know something that might be helpful, or you have some suggestions or some ideas, you know, put them in the comments, and I really appreciate it. And if you want to subscribe, that's cool too. But you know, and thumbs up on the video is always nice. Nice to see that. Because otherwise, when we make these videos, the guys that are producing content, like myself and, you know, some of the big guys and stuff, once they get to a certain size in the channel, it really doesn't matter probably, but You know, I've got 430 subscribers or something, so I'm small, pretty new at this, and it really helps for people to let you know what they're thinking too. So that's all I'm gonna say on that. So without further ado, let me break out some of these parts, and we'll kind of go through what I've got so far, and maybe you'd have some suggestions on what else I might need. I don't know which direction this project is going to go, except in the most very basic form, which is going to be restoration. I want to do some customizing in the way of, it's going to have custom paint, and I probably will spare no expense on that. I haven't really got a scheme in mind. I have some ideas, but nothing firm. And it's not going to be a black motorcycle. It's not going to be a factory resto. It's not going to look like it did the day it came off the display floor. That's not what I'm really in for. I want something that's more than that. But I want the iconic look of the Valkyrie engine and the Valkyrie styling. It's a huge motorcycle. I want it to be kind of a cruiser more than a bagger. I really don't want to put a windshield on it. I would like to add some extra lighting and that kind of thing, and change turn signals out, and do, customize some of that stuff and change it from the factory stuff. I'm thinking Fender work. I'm thinking lots more chrome. I like chrome and glossy paint. That's what I like. I don't like denim. I don't hate it. I just don't personally care for it on my motorcycles. None of mine have it. I want glossy paint, and I want lots of chrome. Thinking reds and blues, or candy apple red, or something like that, with gold and pinstripes, and or maybe some retro striping, like the old hot rod stuff from the 60s, that kind of thing. So that's kind of what I'm after here. I want the wheels and everything to be shiny and new looking. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done to get it to the standard that I'm looking for. I'm looking for not like a show bike necessarily, though. It would be nice. I might enter it in some local shows, some car and motorcycle shows. I might do that. That's not my goal, is to win anything like that. My goal is just to have a cool motorcycle that looks like nothing else, looks like very few others that might be out there. So if you're in the Valkyrie community, please comment. Please get in touch with me. You can do it through YouTube. And without further ado, let's take a look at what I have, and maybe some of the resources that I have to get this project accomplished. So I think it's going to be down to the frame. I'm thinking to going all the way down to the frame. The engine I think is fine inside, but I didn't test ride it first. I've only got I've ridden the bike a grand total of a half a mile. So I know the brakes are good. I know the engine runs. That's about it. It's got good rubber on it. So it's rideable as is, but I want something cooler. I want something better, something unusual. So help me out if you can. And I got lots of other videos out there. Maybe I got something there I can trade you back and help you out with. So anyway, welcome. Thanks for watching. And we'll get right down to this. What's in these boxes? So let's talk about fenders. Not really sure I want the stock fenders on here. The fenders really set the lines of the bike, and that's just not really the look I'm looking for. I mean, they're fantastic fenders, but I'm thinking something a little more stylish. At least for the front. The rear is an enigma. I can't really tell exactly how guys have done some of their custom rear fenders, so I guess I'm kind of on my own on that. It's hard to, you can look at pictures on the internet, but there just isn't a lot of information out there on how people did their fenders on there. There's a little bit on the Valkyrie Writers Club forum, but for the most part, there just really isn't a lot. And so I got online, eBay, a few different other cycle parts houses that I found online, used bike wrecking yards, that kind of thing. And I found some fenders that there's, you know, this one here. This is a stock front that's off of a the fairing bike, the Interstate, Valkyrie Interstate, and it's got this hideous looking doodad on the front here. It's also got a lot of rust going on under the paint, but it's for the most part intact. And mine is pretty dang good. It's pretty pristine. There really isn't a lot of, there's not any dents or anything. It seems a little cattywampus to me, but just looking at it from the front, and I mean, being really critical on it, it looks like it's maybe sprung a little bit, but there's no damage or dents on it, and which is I can't say for these fenders for the most part. But the reason I bought these fenders is I thought, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to cut the fender down and make my own style of fender, or what? And I just kind of, in doing some reading and research, I thought, well, that's an option to cut it down. But the other option is this option, and this is one that I got, I can't remember where I got it. This is off of a Honda VTX. I think that was a 750 motorcycle. But a lot of guys on their custom Valkyries have used this fender right here. And this one is pretty straight. There is a dent, a couple of dings on it that I'd need to take out before paint, but nothing really major. Like there's a bit of, the worst one is this right here. I don't know if you can see that or not. There's a crease right there, if I can maybe show it to you. But so that's going to need to come out. And so I'm going to need to learn some body and fender. It's not a bad one at all. I think maybe just some taps with a dolly might bring that back out. So I have a body and fender set with dollies and hammers and all of that, but I haven't done a lot of work with anything like that. So I bought these fenders to practice on. I thought I don't really want to practice and cutting on my really good front fender. In case I decide that I need to use it later if this doesn't work out. I don't really want to cut on my stock fenders. So I bought these fenders to play with mainly, because then I can TIG weld on them, I can cut them, I can you know, see maybe if I can come up with something that I like better than the VTX. So with the VTX, I know these aren't going to fit my bike, but these are the stays. They fit the VTX fenders. So with some modifications and then sending out for chrome, I think I can mount that VTX fender and make it look pretty decent. Even if I have to go find a guy with a plasma table or a CNC or something that can help me make proper mounts for it. But I bought these. These are the factory OEM VTX fender stays that go with this fender here. This fender. Somebody had a custom paint job on there. It's crude, but it's not horrible. I mean, I don't know, it's a do-it-yourself job, I think. But anyway, that fender is in great shape other than this crease right here, and that I'm pretty sure I can get that out before it goes for paint. This one has a worse crease on it, and this is a carbon copy of my fender up there, except somebody had an ornament of some sort bolted to the front of it, and so they drilled a hole in the front of the fender. Now that could be tigged up, and you could tap that all out and probably get it all squared away, you know. But it's got some rust going on it too. And some of these were cheap. Well, this one was ridiculously expensive. I kind of got myself into an eBay thing on that, where, you know, I bought it. For my bid was 40. If you want 175 for it, this is, watch out for this. This happens. You wanted 175 for the fender, but it was an auction. I was the only bidder, so I bid 45 for the fender. It's about the going rate. I think I probably paid for this one, or maybe less. And he said, okay, so I agreed to pay the deal, and when he came through, the shipping was 140 or something. So he just marked the shipping up to me. He got us 175 bucks, let's just say that. So, and I kind of got it in the shorts, but I had already said I'd buy the items, so I didn't want to mess up my eBay account with a bad comment or something, so I paid the money and just ate it. But I'm glad I did. I mean, it gives me another Fender that's pretty nice that I could actually, if I can get it cut down to look cool, maybe I'll use it. I don't know. This rusty part was way up on the front, and that I'd probably cut that off. I don't know. I'm not sure what Fender shape yet. But I've got this Fender to practice on because it's got a dent. I mean, I can dent it too and work on learning dents. And other than that, it's in pretty good shape. It came with a couple fasteners. And I don't remember where I got this, to be honest. Maybe Pinwall Cycle? Not sure. Then I got on a horse of a different color. This is a rear. This is the inner rear, because the Valkyrie has a front fender that goes back kind of under the pillow in there and stops, and then so the seat latches into this bracket right here, and so this fender kind of just goes back and stops, and then there's a back part that goes on there. So I'm kind of wondering, do I modify this and just go with this as a fender, sort of a bobber type deal? I don't know. I mean, I'm not really sure how that's going to go yet. I haven't really figured that out. But once again, it is a fender that I can cut on, that I can work with, that I can, figure out the heat range for TIG welding on it. It's just it's a fender, and this actually is, and of course the inner fenders are a dime a dozen. That cost, I think I've seen them as cheap as 20 to 25 bucks online. But the expensive ones are the front fenders, if they're good, and there aren't very many good ones. And the rear portion of the back fender, those are more, they want a lot more money for those. And like I say, getting them without dents or anything like that is pretty tough to do, though. This one's pretty straight. Not straight enough for my standards. It's got a dent in the front. It's going to need to be worked on, but it's a practice fender mostly. And unless I decide to use it, and if I decide to cut one down, if I really find a good look that I like and I'm sold on, that I really love, I might cut my stock fender down. I don't know yet. I might not want to do that, but we'll see. Fenders are the kind of one of the things that's the biggest enigma about this for me, because I'm not really sure the look that I want. And I've looked at a lot of pictures of customs, and I've kind of seen a lot of things I like. And so kind of want to go that route. The rear fender, that's going to be a real challenge. I'm not sure if I can make one out of, good ones that I can buy online, modify those, or if I need to find some other animal that's completely not from one of these bikes. So anyway, that's the fenders. That's where we're at with that. So in the process of doing this project, I anticipate that pretty much the whole bike is going to come apart. So there'll be a video when we start down that road. And then I assume there is at certain points going to be the need, when it goes back together, to put various different seals and so forth in. When I did the coolant here, I didn't have this seal in here, and literally the next day it was dripping right here. I had put this, separated the water pump cover. I want to look at the water pump. and frankly it's a lot faster way to get the coolant out of the system than using the little drain plug at the bottom here, which just pees ever so slightly. So I pulled this hose and dumped it there, and then I cracked the front of the cover off because I wanted to see what the water pump looked like inside. Looked great. It's on the video, on the coolant change video. Yeah, so I've been trying to kind of predict as much as possible what issues I'm going to run into and what seals and so forth should be replaced when the bike goes back together. So I spent some time looking at the parts diagrams online, and I bought pretty much all the OEM O-rings that have anything to do with the liquid cooling system. So I have all new O-rings there, and I ordered a new one at the same time. I ordered 2 of these water pump seals, and so I have an extra one of those. But I have all the O-rings necessary to, on the hard water pipes. There's some tubing, that's steel tubing, and the rubber lines and all of that. And a lot of where all that stuff goes together, there's generally O-ring seals, so I ordered all of those O-ring seals. And when I do this, I print off my order form, and I also print off the exploded drawing from off of the the parts house where you're looking at which parts are which, and I print that, and I also circle what parts it is that I have that are contained in these bags and where they go. So that's an easy way to keep track of, because there's a whole bunch of parts here, and luckily a lot of this stuff was still available. Some of it's not. I mean, it's kind of nerve-wracking when you're going down the page and you're looking for this part that you really want, and you get down there, it says it's unavailable. It just says unavailable. So like all of this stuff, like here's the transmission case right here. I've got that gasket for that. So that's this gasket right here. And I'm sorry, that's the water pump case, not the transmission. It's the water pump case. In case I need to take that cover off, I want to have gaskets and seals on hand. So that's what all of this stuff is, and it's all, delineated out. So, I mean, if I hadn't had that printed off, I'd think I had the tranny gasket when it's actually the water pump, front of the cover, front cover, water that the water pump mounts to. It's this cover right here. There's some blingy stuff out there still available for the Valkyries. A lot of the aftermarket stuff has been discontinued. So, by the suppliers like Cobra, made a lot of it, I guess, back in the day. And so most of this stuff is new old stock. A lot of these things aren't really available anymore. This is a chrome tube that goes over the drive shaft area back there, the factory black painted drive shaft thing. This is just a chrome widget that snaps on over that and makes it look blingier. So I got more gaskets, seals, clips. I ordered this vinyl tubing, a silicone hose, because I'm going to need to replace a bunch of vacuum lines and stuff up here, because I want all that stuff new. When this all goes back together, most all the rubber parts will have been replaced. And this is a boot for the drive shaft, for the U-joint. When I got the bike, this was the taillight that was on it. It's just cooked by the UVs, but it's not cracked. Doesn't appear to be broken. Oh, I lied. It's cracked right there. So it'll probably just go in the trash, but I hung on to it because you can see how that looks now. I have a new one on there, the new one on there now. So this is the one I took off, just UV cooked. And that's sort of how this whole bike has been, just cooked in the UVs. Here's another example. there's a rear brake reservoir on the other side of the bike, and it's hidden by this cover. Look at this cover. All the chrome is gone off this cover. It's just plastic cover now. There's a brand new one. I already put it on over there. This was just, I don't really want to even take a test ride with crap like this. I mean, you know, but it's not cracked or broken or anything. It could be painted. I don't know. You know, I hung on to it. So just because I don't know what's going to happen with this thing yet. Maybe I'll use it. I don't know. But there's a brand new chrome one on over there, like a $22 part. These are the shock protectors, the rock protectors for the shocks up there. Those ones are kind of rusty and scratched and cruddy looking, so I bought some new ones of those if I wind up using them. These are completely new brake and clutch. These are aftermarket, but they're pretty much clones. And so if I don't get the ones I have, the stock ones, to polish up to, you know, make me happy, then maybe I'll go to these. These were pretty inexpensive too, and they're actually for the Valkyrie. They're not universals. They have the brake light switch and clutch switch on them, and they're pretty balls on copies. I bought some covers that don't have all the warning writing on top of them. They're just blank covers. This is an alternator cover. That's this right here. This right here, underneath this sits an alternator. It looks a lot like the one on your car. And if you look at the bottom of it here, you can hear that. That's the chrome is peeling off. And it's like I could probably just pull it right off of there. And so obviously that's not going to work. And you know, I don't know what else I would do to cover up this alternator. I'll probably take this alternator and strip it all apart, just get the cases off of it, and then I'm going to take and vapor polish those, so that's going to be nice and shiny like new. I have a Vapor Honing Technologies vapor polishing cabinet, the whole 9 yards inbound. It's on the assembly line at VHT on the East Coast right now, and they're building it, and when it's done they're going to ship it here, and then I'm going to put it out in a building out by my barn. And I also have in that same building a media blasting, dry media blasting cabinet. So the vapor honing techniques are pretty cool. Like you can use the dry media to blast a finish off, like a clear lacquered finish over an aluminum part, and then you can vapor hone using a glass bead media mixture, vapor hone it and polish it to look like a completely brand new part. Then I guess you could re-lacquer it if you want. I probably wouldn't. So all my calipers, parts of my front forks, all of that stuff's going to get vapor honed and cleaned and rebuilt. So I've been ordering all the seals and parts and O-rings and crap to do that. These calipers will get all new seals and pistons and whatever they need. They won't get pistons if they don't need pistons, but I got it. Once I get them apart, I'll know a lot more about it. So this is a brand new one of these, and trust me, this cheesy plastic chrome part. The other one for the little cover for the brake cylinder on the other side was like $22. This one was like $140. So, but I wanted it, so I bought it. This is a side cover, and it's broken. On the other side, the side cover is good. It's not broken, but this device here, this bulkhead they call it, that has the key so you can take the seat on and off, that's all broken. So I got a brand new one of those, new old stock, brand new, even in the right color for now. And then I got, in this box here, I've got a good left side cover that I got off of, I think, eBay. And but it's a used one, and but it's in decent shape. It's not broken at least, but it's gonna need, of course, it's gonna get repainted. So I don't really care what the finish is on it. But the main thing is this. If you look right here, this thing, almost all of the used ones, that's broken off. This one's in good shape. It's not cracked. It's got some cheesy sticker that somebody put on the side of it. I don't know why you'd put that on your motorcycle, but anyway, this is going to get a repaint anyway, so this is a brand new one of these, because on this one, this is broke off, and that's an integral part of what holds it on the bike. So mine is taped on with Gorilla Tape, little strip of Gorilla Tape on the front. It's black Gorilla Tape though, so it matches. But this cover, it's too bad. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this cover to experiment to see if I can't repair this on that cover too. But instead of using plastic, which breaks off, I think maybe stainless or some kind of metal part versus a plastic part. I mean, I could make something out of plastic, but I'm more interested in maybe retrofitting like an insert that has this shape on it, because you don't see this anyway. It's just there to hold the front of the cover in, because there's only this grommet and a grommet on the frame that this snaps into. And then there's a plastic tab on this piece right here that latches into this. And so without this cover practically wants to fall off. So this is integral, but it's flimsy. It's cheesy. I don't know. I think Honda could have done better on a lot of this stuff. It's really kind of surprised. But, you know, I'm dealing, mainly my street bike experience is with Indian and Victory. So Polaris mainly. And Indian and Victory, I mean, their stuff is squared away. Their engineering, their fit and finish, their forethought. I mean, it's friggin' Polaris, right? Side by sides, quads, snowmobiles, you know, Polaris Industries, you know. So I honestly really think Honda could have done better. I mean, it's a cool bike. I mean, look at this engine. But the thing of it is, you know, it's just a lot of stuff is like cheesy, cheapy. Like, how'd they ever think those little tabs are going to survive? I'm surprised the one on the other side isn't broken. Really, you know. But then this forward bulkhead is so broken. That one's taped on too. So you can get. There's a guy I think on eBay that produces a stainless steel fastener kit for the Valk, and it's got just like stainless for everything here that's not stainless. Pretty much they got it. Like these. You know, I thought, like, you can't go wrong with stainless. My bikes never sit outside. I almost never see rain anyway. I don't ride to commute. I don't ride for, you know, romance or any of that bullshit. I ride because I like to ride, and I like to do it when the weather's nice. Same thing with snowmobile. I don't snowmobile in the rain either. So, you know, if it's raining, even though I'm from Washington, I'm not going to be out there riding around in it. Don't need to. I've ridden enough to where I don't need to. These here, I was amazed these were still available. But it's hard to tell you for sure what these are, but I'll explain it best I can. In the back of the headlight bowl, there are 3 indicator lights. There's one for the kickstand being down. Believe. Neutral. Oh, no. A high beam indicator, a turn signal indicator, and neutral. And they're just the colored deals that go in the headlight. Well, those are cooked. Like, you can't, there's no letters or logos left on them. They're just all cooked out. They work good enough, though the green one for the neutral switch is so hard to see. You almost have to really look at it in a dark room because it's so cooked. So I bought new ones of those. I really like that headlight. You know, I don't know if you can, I mean, check out this headlight. This headlight is cool. This headlight is cool. It's really big and gnarly. And you can see the indicators back here. It's going to need rechroming because, unfortunately, because this bike has been outside so much, there's some bubbling under the chrome. So this is going to need to have the chrome stripped and rechromed. You see where the windshield used to be on here? It used to have like a police plastic windshield on it. That's what the Tourers had. The Tourers had the hard bags, and they had the police windshield. The Standard didn't have the police windshield or the hard bags. It was just a cruiser. And then the Interstate has a full fairing and all that stuff, and a big trunk and all that junk on the back. This is the Tourer version, so, and it's sort of a, I don't know if I'd call it a dark horse or anything, but you know, it's a lot of black. But just cheesy. I mean, if you look, there's welding splatter all over this, where they welded these pipes together, and then they never went back across with a flap disc and got rid of these, you know, this welding splatter. You know, the welds are decent, you know, okay. Somebody used a Sharpie marker on this piece. I don't know if that was at the dealership or, you know, somebody's kid, but they tried to color this kind of rusty, funky, crappy looking bracket here. Why they didn't put a nice, I guess they were trying to not put too many fairings and covers on this bike, you know, trying to make it look more stripped down than a gold wing. This is essentially a gold wing. Some people even refer to them as a Valkyrie gold wing, but that's kind of sort of not quite correct. But yeah. So apparently a problem that the Valkyries have is this shifting shaft. The way they designed it, apparently it gets stressed out from all the shifting, and it's not well supported because it's like that long before it comes into the actual shifter itself. They put some wire guards on here so you don't melt your shoes off on the pipes. And so there's guys that came up with this thing, and this little part here is a support that goes back here and then bolts up. I believe it bolts up to the frame. And they didn't give me any instructions on it, so I guess I'll have to figure that out for myself. But apparently what it does, it goes around this shift shaft with this deal here, and then this other thing bolts up somewhere. But I guess what it does is it wrongers out the seal. There's an oil seal back here, though I'm not having a leak, so it doesn't seem to be an issue. But they give you a new seal, so you can replace that. And then this thing here prevents this. Makes it shift nicer, I guess, more positive. It's called a shift buddy. And I have no idea how to install it yet, but I'll figure it out, I guess, in time. What else we got? Oh, the tat. Oh, we got all this stuff here. So let me back you out again. So one day I was sitting on the bike, and I got to looking at the gauges, the tachometer and the speedometer, and I'm like, oh no. Because they actually look pretty good, and it's got the original mileage, 16,000, blah, blah, on it. And they actually look pretty good. Like, it's like, oh, something's not messed up on this bike. That's cool. And so I'm sitting there looking at them, and it just catches my eye that the face, where all the numbers and everything, is flaking off. Sorry, dead camera battery. So these are the covers that go over the tach and speedometer. Because they were a little pitted, I thought, okay, well, plastic parts, so, and to my knowledge, I don't think they can be re-chromed unless you spend a fortune probably, and maybe there's somebody out there that does that. I don't know yet. Looks like I have to send all my chrome out to this place in California. They look like they really know what they're doing, at least from their website. So that's probably where my parts are going to wind up going. But I was able to buy new covers for the tachometers, and then I found out that the faces were flaking off from the inside on the tack, and a little bit in the speedo. So I thought, crap. So probably don't need these now. And I figure what parts, when I'm done with this, what parts I don't need or don't want to keep, I'd probably just eBay them, because a lot of stuff's getting scarce. So I thought, okay, well, so I went looking, and I was able to find a brand new tack, well, not a new, brand new tack, new for me tack. Oh, this is a Speedo. In absolutely beautiful condition. Perfect numbers and face on it. All of that stuff's awesome. The only problem is this motorcycle had 45,514 miles on it. So I guess the question I have is, can I take the guts out of my speedometer and put my numbers into this speedometer here that has a good face on it? Kind of think it's possible. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I haven't had one of these apart yet. So mine are in such lousy shape that I'm going to take mine apart. Once I get them off, I'm going to take mine apart, and if that goes well, and it looks like I can exchange the wheels, the number wheels for the mileage, I'm going to put my mileage wheels into this speedometer. And this is a little scratched up on this, so I'll probably actually will use a new cut. But I'll have pristine, like new, tack and Speedo when I'm done. Hopefully with the right mileage. Otherwise, I'll have to figure out the best way to believably document the actual miles on the bike and keep track of that. I'd really like to get a speedometer assembled, a good one out of these two speedometers, and have it with the proper mileage. That's kind of the goal. So hopefully we can do it. Maybe not. Anyway, in the same vein, I've got a perfect tachometer. Again, a little scratched up on the case, rusty screw, you know, but the business end of it, it's got like a dead gnat inside of the glass, so he's in there, he's dead in there. So I need to get him out of there. But I'm going to take these apart and make two really nice ones out of them. So, yeah, I mean, I was jazzed. This stuff isn't cheap because it's getting so scarce, but there is still some of it around if you're diligent and keep looking. You can still get it. So there's my tack and my Speedo, and there's a company online, it's overseas somewhere, that makes accessory bullet style. Like you can get a clock, you can get an oil temp, you can get a water temp, you can get these various gauges. And he's got some pretty trick looking CNC mounts and stuff for him. I sent him an email saying, yeah, I want this, this, and this, and all the parts to mount it. And my Valkyrie, just to trick out the instrumentation a little bit more. And I haven't heard a word. That's probably over a month ago. I emailed that guy, and he hasn't answered me back. So I don't know if he's legit or not. If I'll ever see that stuff, but well, who knows? Maybe I'll get lucky. Oh, I found a brand new old stock pair of front brake pads online. Brake pads are good on this bike, but when I see this, and they're cheap too. I think it was eBay, and so I just went on the factory part and checked the factory part number, made sure it was the same, and I think I picked these up for 15 bucks on eBay. So anytime I see parts that, you know, that are consumables, I snag them. This right here, I went through 10 kinds of hell to get this. It was way more expensive than it was worth, but I thought, I like these. I thought they're trick. I'll show you what they are. I mean, I really should have my head examined, but I wanted them, so I bought them. I decided on this project, it's probably the only bike build or resto that I'm going to do, at least that I know of right now. I'm running out of room for motorcycles, but I found on eBay in Poland a brand new set of these things, and they call them velocity stacks. These are not available anymore, and this is a brand new set, perfect condition. These little guys, and essentially these go right here, so it kind of gives you that look. You know, 3 of those. There's a lot of money. I even consider, I thought, shit, if they're that, you know, they look fairly simple, I wonder if I could just turn them on my lathe, you know. And then I found a set on eBay. I think there's still one set left, same seller, about the same price. And I got them, but when they shipped them, the post office screwed up the delivery and decided that, I don't know if they tried to deliver them, but they said I didn't live there. So they sent them back to this guy in Poland, right, that I'm dealing with on eBay. I don't speak Polish. Luckily, he seems to speak English, or he's using translation on the computer. But I poured my heart out to him because I'd already paid for these. I'm not even going to tell you how much I paid for them. It's embarrassing. And he said, don't sweat it. When they get back here, I'll turn them around. And I said, great. If you'll do that, I'll PayPal you instantly for your trouble. So it even cost me more money because I had to pay the shipping twice. And the post office is like, yeah, too bad for you, tough shit. So anyway, I got a set of these. These are like impossible to find. I think there was one set on eBay though, if you don't mind paying for them. New foot pads, new rubber. These are all chipped up and cruddy. New pads for the foot pegs. If I even use these foot pegs, I kind of like a little floorboard, but the problem is on the Valkyrie, the shifter and brake pedal are really tight down in here by the pipe. So I'm not sure floorboards would work very good. You kind of got to be able to rock your foot. So you can't really do a heel shifter that I'm aware of on this. So you're kind of stuck with foot pads. These are foot pads, not pegs. They're wider. The chrome is totally shot on the back part of this. This bracket looks not bad. Maybe that'll clean up and polish up. But I got new ones of those. New exhaust seals for the pipes. These pipes, I was like, why are my pipes on my Valkyrie black and everybody else's seem to be chrome? Well, these were chrome, but they were so rusty that somebody just got under there with a rattle can, and because they missed a lot. Like, they didn't take the pipes off to paint them or clean them or do anything. They painted right over all the rust and the crap, and so they're just shot. I don't know how bad they are really, but maybe they could be bead blasted and then ceramic coated or something, you know. But honestly, and the shields aren't bad. They're salvageable. The tips are pretty bent up on the back. I don't think those can be salvaged. It's like when people back up and they back into a curb with their pipes. I've almost done it. I'm not immune. I have not done it, but I've come close a couple times. I got one, oh, stop, you know. I almost did it. So it happens. Somebody's done it on this bike way more than once, and so the tips are all bent to hell. So I thought, well, I want custom exhaust anyway. So I've got the new seals, and I've got the new exhaust. So if I can get one of these out. I got the new exhaust, and these are the 6 into 6 by Cobra. Same company that makes the chrome tube for the drive shaft. These are Cobra 6 into 6 / cut chrome pipes, and I like these. I thought that kind of like, it's got a kind of a cool look to them. So I have a brand new set of these. Not sure what the bike is tremendously quiet, very nice. You know, it's not loud, not like my Indian or my Victory. You know, those are kind of loud. But I like loud pipes too. But this thing is just so purrs so quietly and runs so quietly. But that's probably going to change when I put these on there. It's going to have some sound to it, which if it turns out to look the way I want it to look, it'd be nice to have it sound the way I want it to sound. These also have removable baffles, so you can take them out and make them straight pipes if you want. Probably won't go to that level, but hopefully they'll sound good. I don't know. I mean, how am I going to know what they're going to sound like until you put them on? So I have them though. They just got here today. What else have we got? Well, we found a set of spark plugs. Big deal. We found this is the Kuryakin. I don't believe this is in their catalog anymore. I think this has probably been discontinued because, you know, the bike is getting up there in years now. Most of them are in the scrap yard. But this is the chrome cover that covers all, on the other side covers the whole transmission. And it'd be cool if there was a cover for this, because that's going to get cleaned up though. But thing of it is I'm not going to strip this engine down, so I don't plan on it. Let me say that. I haven't done the test ride yet, but it seems to run pretty good. I doubt at 16,000 miles, if that's really the true mileage on it, that this engine has any issues. But so normally what you'd want to do with this is you'd take it all apart, and then you put the pieces in your vapor hone, and you vapor hone the outside of it so it comes back super nice, clean, and silver. I believe this is painted. Looking at it, this looks like it's painted to me. So I don't think, like, this casting is not painted, but this definitely has to be painted. This looks painted. So I'm probably going to go with paint. So this will be freshly painted with the chrome, polished all up, these chrome bolts and everything. But I'm not gonna take this apart, so I can't really vapor hone it. I'm gonna vapor hone a lot of the pieces I can, but I can't stick this engine weighs, I don't know how much. I'm gonna have, I mean, it's gonna have a lot of stuff taken off of it when it finally comes off of the frame, but obviously I have to strip a lot of parts off of it to get it off the frame. But as far as cracking the cases and going in there, I have a minor oil leak. It's coming out of there. There's a channel that runs across. You can see daylight through it. And the cases apparently are leaking into that channel, and it's spilling out whichever hole is, the hole goes all the way through. Whichever way the bike is tipped, it'll spill out of that hole. But I mean, I'm talking like a drop or two a week. So it's, you know, it's probably not as bad as a Harley. I don't know. I mean, I hear Harleys leak oil all over the floor, but I'm not. I went riding with a guy in a brand new Sportster, and his Harley sat there and leaked all over the restaurant parking lot when we were inside. So, in fact, he'd been having problematic oil leaks that the factory or the dealership couldn't seem to fix. So sucks. In fact, these sets got rid of that bike and got another Harley. I bought some shocks, new shocks. These shocks are Showas that are on here. Not sure how good they are. They're not bad looking from what I can tell. There's some surface rust on them, but they will probably clean up nice. But I bought these ones instead, because these are more state-of-the-art, I guess. And so these are by Progressive Suspension, and these are for the Valkyrie, and they're adjustable. Probably so are the factory ones, but anyway, that's the shocks, the rear shocks. The front, of course, will be the stock suspension, but I'll put all new seals and oil and, you know, whatever it needs. It'll get a rebuild when I have the forks off, because the frame will be. I'll have the forks, tubes, everything's coming apart. So, I mean, you can't do much with this bike the way it is. It's just filthy and grubby and I mean, it's a nice bike. It's okay. I mean, you could ride it, but it's not to my standard. It's not something I would want to be seen on, really, at this point. It's decent. It's all right. You know, if I had to ride it this way, I would. I'm going to ride it this way a little bit because I've test run it. So anyway, that's where I am so far on this project. I've got a lot of parts, got a lot of ideas, got a lot of concerns and questions. A little bit apprehensive about what I'm going to find once I get the test ride going and then start in on it. But for the most part, it doesn't look too bad. I did find I found a couple cool things on eBay. One of them was, I believe, was from a motorcycle salvage yard, and they had completely salvaged a couple of these Valkyries, and they had all the fasteners. When they do the salvage, you know, they take off the parts that they want. Like if you buy a valve cover, usually you'll get these with it, or if they don't come with it, you can buy them extra. So I don't have any extras of these, but mine are fine. But all of the other stuff that they unbolt, all these nuts and bolts, all this stuff, they just throw it in a pile, and then they send you this. I bought it. It was like $25. They send me this whole huge box of all the fasteners, all the same exact fasteners off another Valkyrie. Even gave me the VIN number of the Valkyrie it all came off of. And so I have a whole set of extra fasteners for this bike. So any of the ones where, I know somebody's been in here before me, and they boogered some of them up. So all the boogered fasteners I have nice replacements for. I haven't really done the vapor rust thing on them yet or any of that and cleaned them yet, but I've sorted them all and bagged them all appropriately as to, you know, what they are, whether they're chrome headed or they're like chrome heads or not, you know, whatever. And so I have them all separated out. I went through everything. There was all kinds of crap in there, some bearings and junk like that. Bearings were fine. There's nothing wrong with the bearings. I'm not sure what bearings they are. I think there's maybe one or two from the triple tree up front, and one up from that, and one from something else. And I don't know if swing arm bearing. I'm not sure. Anyway, plus all of the rubber parts, like the tank mounts that are under the tank, the rubber saddles that are under there, all of the rubber parts. Some of the plastic parts, like these things that cover the fasteners for the swing arm, this humongous swing arm. Yeah, all kinds of cool stuff. Even some wire stuff and wiring and harness plugs and stuff like that. There's some of this big grab bag of stuff. It's like $25. It's great. I had a blast separating it all out and checking it out. And then I bought, I think from the same vendor, a whole set of hoses, used hoses, of course. You can get some of these hoses, but some of the smaller pre-bent ones or factory bent, unavailable. So I got Actually, a pretty nice set, pretty decent set. I wouldn't think twice about cleaning them up and running them. You know, not dry, not hard, not cracked, not brittle. Nice hoses that are a full set for a Valkyrie. So I got that. I think it was 18 bucks, something like that. They're over there. I didn't bother getting those out. There's some other stuff laying here and there that I didn't bother pulling out to show you because it's too mundane. But this is my Valkyrie. I don't know what it's going to wind up looking like when it's done, but it should be fun to follow along in the videos. It's always fun to see before and after. And hopefully it'll be cool. If you have anything to add, anything to warn me about, hey, I had one of these and I had this problem or that, you know, whatever. But the only thing I can see is that little oil leak right now, and that's it. It starts up, runs like a champ, and it's just a real nice bike. I think it's just going to be trick when it's done. I have this idea of just a big ass engine and this kind of cool looking cruiser, you know. And so that's all I got. Until I get the fence done, I might not be doing any more videos in the Valkyrie for a while, unless I start in on something. I gotta get the test ride first. That'll probably be the next one. Test ride video coming up, and my assessment and points of interest and so forth after that's all done. And then then the teardown. Then the teardown's going to begin. And I guess what's going to happen first is, you know, all of the ancillary stuff is going to come off. It's going to wind up being the frame, the engine, the front forks, and tires and wheels. And then, because it's going to need to be a roller, I'm pretty sure, to get the motor out of it. I'm not sure. I think from what I've read, I can get the motor out with both the front and rear tires. I hope so, because this motor weighs probably a couple hundred pounds. So I need to figure out how in the heck I'm going to lower it and get it out of the frame. I might have to pick the frame up with a chain hoist, at the same time jacking the engine from underneath. I don't know how any of that's going to go yet. I've never done it. So I have the capabilities and skill set to do it. I just have never done it.